G'day folks, Wren here, and I'm back from New Zealand, so let's do a haul. So I was in New Zealand for 2 weeks to celebrate my 30th birthday, and it was really awesome. I had a really good time. I got back 2 days ago, so tired. But I bought a bunch of stuff while I was there, and a lot of those were books, as well as some other stuff. So I'll show you a bunch of the other stuff as well as the books that I bought. And I haven't put this in any order because I just need to unpack my suitcase. Ugh, stuff. Okay, so this is going to be just a really messy haul. I'm just going to pull things out. Timelines will all be different, but that's fine. Randomly, first up, I got this book for my nephew. It says Goodnight Coral Reef by Adam Gamble and Mark Jasper. I got it from the aquarium. He's one. I got him a book. Ooh, I also got two of these. These are pois. And they're, the Maori word for ball. The poi was used many years ago by the indigenous Maori people of New Zealand to increase their flexibility and strength in their hands and arms, as well as improving coordination. Female dancers perform the Maori poi, a dance performed with the balls strung rhythmically. But these are really cool. I saw these being used at a Maori village performance thing that I went to, and the women did this and it was so cool. They made the noise of galloping horses or a train going by. It was so cool, really fascinating, and I found these in a shop in Napier, so I bought two of them for my nieces and I was gonna let them have some fun potentially hitting each other, but it was super cool. Okay, wrapped up in my bathers because I didn't have anything else to wrap it in. So I didn't actually buy this, but this is a mug from the Green Dragon Inn in Hobbiton. So Hobbiton, the highlight of the trip for me. It's kind of the main reason I went there. I did a Lord of the Rings tour. Lord of the Rings is my everything. And while we were having lunch at Hobbiton, which was the best food I had in New Zealand, was at Hobbiton. It was amazing. But they came around and gave everyone these complimentary mugs because there was some construction going on in Hobbiton. I was like, I wasn't particularly fazed by the construction, but yes, I will take this. I randomly picked up a little notebook that was in a bookstore because it's mushrooms. Ooh. And this. So on the way to Lake Taupo, we were driving, and on the side of the road there was this sign that said lava glass museum workshop art gallery thing. So I quickly turned in there, and it was really beautiful, the lava glass. We didn't stay there super long, but of course I bought something, and ooh, I'm so glad to survive the trip. Oh my gosh. But the lava glass was really cool. It's a shroom! Isn't it so cute? Ugh. If you haven't noticed, I like mushrooms. We stayed in Napier for a few days, and it has this Art Deco vibe to it because in 1931 the town was destroyed by an earthquake, so then it got rebuilt within 2 years, I think, and everything has been preserved from that rebuilding stage, so it was all 1930s style. And I bought a bunch of postcards because it was just, you know, cute Art Deco stuff, and I love it. Napier was super cool, one of my favourite places. And then in Hobbiton, I bought The Hobbit, obviously, by J.R.R. Tolkien, but this is the graphic novel edition. So I knew this was a thing, but I hadn't bought it before because I was like, I don't know. But then I saw it in Hobbiton, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying that. So I'm really looking forward to reading this because this is going to be awesome. Obviously, this art style is not the art from the movies, it's the art from, I think it's from the 80s when there was a Hobbit film, animated film produced. But I got this and I'm so excited. And like, I went there. That's Bilbo's house. I went there. I also got this little pendant. This is Orcrist, which is the sword that Thorin Oakenshield wields in The Hobbit. So yeah, it's amazing. It's also very pointy. Then I also picked up this really random little book of J.R.R. Tolkien. There's a bunch of quotes from his books and from himself talking about like the language and all of the characters, and just, it's a bunch of random stuff, but like it was Tolkien, so I bought it. Then when we were in Wellington, I knew that there was a bunch of bookstores really close to our hotel, and they were all on this street called Cuba Street, which was a really cool street. It was very, like in Adelaide, reminiscent of Rundle Mall, so it was super cool. I loved a bunch of the shops there, and there was like 5 bookstores that I went into that day. I didn't buy much on that day, actually. I think I only bought these books I'm going to talk about. I went into one of these bookstores, and it was called the Ferret Bookshop or something. I love some of the names of these bookstores, they're amazing. And I picked up 2 books by the same author. So I got Trapped by Jack Kilbourne and Endurance by Jack Kilbourne as well. These are both indie horror books, and they sounded really cool, and I'm just very intrigued by them. They're both signed. What's really cool about these is that they have the author's fingerprint in them. Like, how cool is that? And very much like a horror author to do. Like, so cool. So I think I'm most interested in Endurance. Yeah, so there's the National Iron Woman Triathlon. Some of the contestants had to stay at a particular inn called the Rushmore Inn. Things start getting creepy, and she realizes that the front door is barred and the windows have been bricked over. There's no way out. And then a year later, there are 4 more athletes that have come to stay. It sounds super creepy, and I love when people are stuck somewhere and shenanigans happen. So that's what this sounds like. And then Trapped was very much it sounded like a typical slasher movie, like set at camp, someone's telling a scary story around the campfire, and then he gets dragged off into the woods and everyone's like, oh, it's part of the story, but he doesn't come back. And then the person that goes looking for him also doesn't come back. So something's happening. But these both sounded really creepy and cool. I love that there were just some random indie horror books around, so I bought them. And then at a second-hand bookstore in Hamilton, I found a book that I've read before, but I have been dying to get my hands on this edition, and I finally did. And that's Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I love this book so much. It's so creepy and like messed up, weird sci-fi stuff. It's so good, and I love this cover. I've always wanted this cover, but the cover that I have is the movie tie-in edition. That movie sucks. So I didn't want that edition, but I love the book. And I finally found this, and I was like, I am buying this and I am bringing this home. And then at the Waitomo Glow Caves, I bought a shirt which glows in the dark. It's very cute, but all of my shirts that I bought are in the wash, so I can't show you, but I bought a shirt. But I also bought Maori Myths and Legends by A.W. Reid, so I am really interested to read this. I love myths and folklore, all that kind of stuff. This could be interesting. So I'm looking forward to giving this a go. It's really short. The stories range from the creation of the world and the coming of life, death, and knowledge. They incorporate the great god Tane, Maui, who tamed the sun, the woman on the moon, monsters, fairies, wondrous birds, and moving mountains. So it sounds like my kind of thing. And then in Wellington, we went into this store. It was like part crystal store, part selling weed. And I picked up these 2 air fresheners just because like they look cool and I love alien stuff. So there's a little alien, and then an I Want to Believe. They're car air fresheners in mint and new car. Also at that cosmic shop, a bunch of socks were bought. So I bought a pair for myself which have this type of stuff on it. And then I got 2 for my nieces. So this one says, in loving memory of sleep. And then the other one, it says, my dog is cool as F. Also from that cosmic store, I got a tarot card bag, which was super cool. So it is the moon Like, I don't know, this is just cool. In Rotorua, which I really loved Rotorua, it was a beautiful, beautiful place filled with thermic pools, which made it smelly. Thermal pools, they smell like sulfur. And sulfur's not the best smell, especially to be smelling constantly for like 3 days. But we went to Mountain Jade, which is just a store there, and bought a bunch of jade things. So one of the things that I bought was this little like tooth-shaped necklace. It is made from New Zealand jade. And then the other one I bought I'm actually still wearing, which is this little bracelet. I actually went to a kiwi enclosure place where you could see some kiwi, and I saw a kiwi and it was really cute. The guide there was telling us a story of how they used to have this one kiwi who was feisty, is like the nicest way to put it. To the point where like the feeders had to wear protective gear to go into the enclosure because the kiwi was like drawing blood every time someone came in to feed her. She was like, this is my territory, stay out of it. And oh, it was so funny. And then in Hamilton was probably one of my favorite places as well, actually. And the Hamilton Gardens, if you haven't seen or heard about the Hamilton Gardens, go check them out. Like, Google it right now, because the Hamilton Gardens have ruined me for any other like botanical gardens ever, because they had, each section was like a different time period of gardens, and it was so cool. There was like an Egyptian garden, there was a Italian Renaissance garden, a surrealist garden, there was a Tudor garden, and it was so cool. And so well like designed and cool. Oh, I loved Hamilton. Hamilton was great. And Hamilton had this really cute bookstore, and I bought a bunch of stuff from there. So one of the main things I wanted to do about the books that I bought in New Zealand was like, I want to buy New Zealand books. So I want to buy books by New Zealand authors. I picked up The Parangi Boy by Shiloh Kino, and this won the New Zealand Book Awards for children and young adults. So that's super cool. And so yeah, this is a young adult book about this boy who really cares about the land, and he's fighting to save his land from being developed on and that kind of stuff. But I'm really interested to read it because I like it when, you know, young people stand up for the environment and stuff like that. I don't know, but it sounds cool, and I'm interested to read it also because like it won an award. Like, that's really cool. So in that same store there was some Tolkien, and I was very excited for it. Unfortunately, they did not have the Fellowship of the Ring in this edition, but they said I can buy it in Australia, so I'm gonna buy it. But I bought The Two Towers and The Return of the King, and oh my god. Okay, so this is the Two Towers edition. Look at that foiling. And it's a hardcover, like this is the naked hardback. And it's just, it's so good. Oh, so pretty. And then The Return of the King. Can you believe? Look at this! Look at it! Oh, this is stunning. This has to be facing out when I put it into my bookshelves. And again, with the... Oh yeah, I also bought a bookmark there. I forgot that. This is a Van Gogh's Irises. I bought a bookmark. I was wondering where that got to. I have several editions of The Lord of the Rings, and I'm not going to stop buying them. Like, it brings me joy. And I knew that when I went to New Zealand, I wanted to buy The Lord of the Rings. And so when I saw these editions, I was like, hell yes. Okay, then when I was in Weta Workshop, yes, I was in Weta Workshop. It was amazing. So cool to be there. Weta are just amazing at what they do. And I wish I could have taken more photos, but we weren't allowed to take photos inside the workshop, which, like, I understand. When I was in Weta, I thought I would buy more than I did, but I did buy some things. So I bought The Hobbit in this, like, this is a slipcase in my favourite edition of The Hobbit. Sorry, I'm opening it for the first time. Okay, are we ready? Look at it. Oh, just on it still. Oh my gosh. And just the map. Oh. so good. Sorry, me just having a moment. But this is my favorite edition of The Hobbit. I love this cover, and I own the paperback, but I saw this in like this special edition. I was like, I have to buy it. I have to. I just severely kicked the camera. Whoops. Anyways, yeah, so in Napier, I'm pretty sure, I went to my favorite bookstore, which was Wardini Books, I think. It was a really cute place, and the staff were lovely, but also it had so many amazing books that I wanted to buy. It was like, I am struggling to leave here with 2 books. I want to buy so many more. So I ended up leaving there with 2 poetry books. So the first one, I mean, just like, look at this cover. Is that not beautiful? This is a poetry collection called As the Trees Have Grown by Stephanie de Montag. Like, it's like nature type stuff. These poems are always evocative and mysterious, always reaching towards the possibility and hope of healing. This new collection engages with the world as if through a window, cloaked, distanced, guided by the movements of the seasons, the weather, and always trees. That sounds beautiful, and I am so excited to read this. Just like, oh, the cover. Then I picked up this one, which is Supermodel Minority by Chris T. This is an oddly shaped book. It's like a square, but this is another poetry collection. This one's potentially queer. Yeah, I think it is queer author at least. I don't know if the poems are particularly queer-centric, but I think the author is queer. It sounds like it could be potentially hard-hitting, so that's something I apparently enjoy. I didn't know until recently, but I do. I did tend to buy a lot of poetry when I was away because I'm like, poetry can be small, and that's good for a suitcase. I also bought another notebook. This is a hardcover, and like, it just looks like a book, but then it's like dot grid, which was very nice. And then this was the first poetry book I bought from a place called Crushers, and they wrapped it for me, which was very cute. Oh yeah, I bought a bookmark too, didn't I? Yeah, alright, let's see the bookmark. Yeah, this was the bookmark. It says Crushers with some moons, a little tassel, very much a my vibe. So this was bought in Auckland. This is a poetry collection called Ragnakura by Tai Tipple. But this is the second poetry collection by this poet. Look at that cover. The cover's great. And this was interesting. It's like, these poems live in the space between the end of the world and a new day. They ask us to think about our relationship to desire and exploitation. They are both nostalgic for and exhausted by the pursuit of an endless summer. It sounded interesting, but Auckland, not my favourite place. Too many hills, and I felt old walking around there. So then in Napier, I went to a secondhand bookstore, and I found Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey in graphic novel form. I didn't know that was a thing, and I've tried to read Dragonflight before. My aunt really loves them. Well, she lent me the first book so that I could read it, and I tried to read it, but I could not get into it for the life of me. So maybe I'll enjoy a graphic novel version. All I know is that it's a very beloved fantasy series, very like classic fantasy, and there are dragons. I didn't know this was a thing. Pretty sure the lighting has dramatically changed because I stopped filming for a while and did a whole bunch of other stuff. What else do we have? Oh my gosh, okay. At the Waitomo Glow Caves. It was amazing, by the way. If you don't know the Waitomo Glow Caves, go look them up. It's amazing. We got to hear like a little kind of like history lesson on how the caves were discovered. It's like an ancestry thing that's happened. So the guide that took us around was a descendant of the person that found the cave. So cool. Yeah, just like we got to walk down into the caves, and it was really cool. And then you saw the glowworms and their little like kind of fishing lines that they extend from their body to catch prey, and then they slowly roll that up and eat it and then put it back down. So cool. And then we got put into a little boat in this cave, and then you like sailed along, and it was just glowworms. You had to be quiet, and it was just glowing. You're just like in a dark cave on a boat with a bunch of strangers looking up at a bunch of tiny glowing worms. It was a really good experience, but I bought this little glowworm. It's basically what I was trying to say. Look at it. It's so cute. It's just adorable. I spent way too much money on this, but it was cute. I'm kind of mildly obsessed with glowworms now. Okay, then again at Hobbiton, there were a bunch of these magnets that you could get, and I was like, do I get them all? Probably should have, but I didn't. So I ended up just getting the Prancing Pony, which is like, oh, so cool. I should have bought more. And Hobbiton had some really good stuff. Hobbiton actually had way more stuff than Weta Workshop. Speaking of Weta, I bought this. This is the Lord of the Rings sketchbook by Alan Lee. Alan Lee was one of the artists for the movies. He like created everything basically, like did all the drawings for everything. I'm just like, oh, so cool. But yeah, this is just a bunch of sketches and some words. I'm so good at this, guys. But this is cool. This is very much like, oh, it's Eras. This is, oh, the Dead Marshes. So cool. You know, I actually thought the Dead Marshes were going to be a place in New Zealand, but it was just like a soundstage. And I was like, oh, I thought it was like a real thing, but it wasn't. But this is definitely like my kind of thing. This is how deep into Lord of the Rings I am, where I'm going to buy a sketchbook. At Hobbiton, I got the Thorin's Map tea towel, and I'm not going to use these for tea towels. Like, I'm going to frame them and put them on my wall. And like anything to do with the dwarves, I'm there for. I love the dwarves. And then I've also got this contract that was Bilbo Baggins' contract for becoming a part of Thorin's company. So I will take this out. It got a little smushed in travel, but that's okay. The amount of detail that went into this, like, and this was hand stitched. Like, look at this. It just keeps going, and there are little like flaps to more. And like, this is a legitimate contract. Like, reading this, it is so lore heavy. I can't believe how detailed this is. And just like, and then you go down and it's got all their signatures. It's so good. I'm just, oh, it's so good. And then the thing I was like, the first thing I picked up in Hobbiton, I was like, I need this in my life and I will do everything I can to make sure this comes home with me. It's a key to Erebor. Like I said, anything to do with the dwarves, I am there. I'm taking it out and I'm going to show you. I have already looked at it. But I was like, it needs to be protected on the way home. We have a little stand and it's like, there's a weight to this. Okay. Yeah. Look at that. And it's just, it's so good. Ugh. It's just, it like, this is heavy. But, oh, it's the key. I'm having such a good time. I'm obsessed with this, okay? This was the last thing I bought at Weta, and it's just a notebook. I bought so many notebooks in New Zealand for some reason, but it is leather-bound, plain paper on the inside. It has the writing on the ring around it. Ooh, okay. This was from Rotorua, and we went into like a crystal store. The crystals in New Zealand are so cheap. Like, not even accounting for the like exchange rate. They were so cheap. I wanted to buy all the crystals because they were so cheap. But I did buy one thing in this crystal store because it was New Zealand. And like I said, like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to buy New Zealand things in New Zealand. So I bought this, oh, now I'm forgetting the name. Petrified wood. Or fossilized wood. I think it was fossilized wood, maybe. I don't know. But it's like, this is wood, but it's like, this is all smooth and pretty colors. And just, I don't know. It was New Zealand and pretty, and I'm really annoyed that I forgot the name of it. But it's wood, not a crystal. But it was New Zealand and pretty. So I bought it. And then something else I bought in Hobbiton, which I was just like, yes! Ooh, it's Killy's runestone. I love this. Ugh, just, Philly and Killy, my fave. And Thorin. Like, the line of Durin, my fave. So the fact that they had this, I was like, yes, I need this in my life. I love it. It's so shiny. It's way lighter than I expected it to be. Whereas, like, the key to Erebor is heavier than I thought it would be. I love this. It's so good. I squealed a lot when I saw that. And it comes in like a really cute little case too. The final thing that I bought in New Zealand, apart from 2 other shirts that I bought in Hobbiton that were, you know, a Lord of the Rings themed, obviously, but they're in the wash, I can't show you. But the last thing I bought was, I bought this in Hobbiton, and when I saw it, I died. I could not believe this thing existed, and I was like, I need this. It's an Unexpected Party board game. It's a board game of the first movie. It's so cool. So this is produced by Weta Workshop, actually. The kind of point of this is to annoy Bilbo Baggins. So like you become like one of the dwarfs and you just got to annoy Bilbo, because that's like a scene in the movie and in the book where, you know, all the dwarves arrive at Bilbo's house and he's like, what are you doing in my space? And they're just like taken over, and Bilbo was just like stressing. It's very fun, and I'm just like, I can't wait to just like open this and play it. It's gonna be great. But just, oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, that was everything that I bought in New Zealand. Anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all the stuff I bought in New Zealand, and it was a lot less than I expected though. I expected to come home with like needing another suitcase to carry all the things that I bought. But I did have a really amazing time. It was a great way to celebrate my 30th birthday. It was a fantastic experience all around. There were some bumps, but like that's travel for you. And I'm really glad to be home, getting back into routine. So we'll be filming more videos, posting them, reading, all the good stuff. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!